Hello, folks. You are watching and listening to Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media on all of our channels and networks. I'm Mike Morales in Southern California. That gentleman out there is
Bryce Taylor in Austin, Texas.
Bryce is the Austin tequila connoisseur, so go follow him right now. I dare you. Bryce and I are really beside ourselves because, and me particularly, because we are tasting and dissecting El Ultimo Agave, the last one. And this is a rebrand. This particular brand, the bottle is the same, the shape is the same, it's a hammered look. I think this particular design here is a little bit new. Other than that, the Blanco was the same juice that I had 10 years ago, 9 years ago when I was living here previously. And that's why there's some of it missing in my bottle, because I had to taste it for research because I had a bar. Apparently it's not available in Texas, or I couldn't find it. And Bryce has never seen it. It's like, how can you not seen this tequila? It was all over Southern California. As a matter of fact, the store I was telling you offline it's a Mexican food store. It's a Mexican grocery store run by a big family. So it's a large chain all over Southern California called Vallarta. And Vallarta has some of the best tequila selections in a grocery store I've ever seen. The usual suspects, but then you get some of this stuff and really great pricing too back then. So this is the Reposado. We're going to taste it, dissect it, tell you what it's all about for those of you who have never seen this brand. And then we'll give you the ins and outs, the story behind the story. So I'm going to pour mine into Glencairn. Wow, that's a good sign.
With the fresh pop.
Yeah, Bryce just broke his open, which is the case with us and sipping off the cuff. Now it looks a bit darker in the bottle than it does in your glass.
That's what I was just looking at, but I think like the Blanco, the glass is probably recycled and has a little tint. I don't think they're trying to mislead you, but it is a little darker in the bottle than it is in the glass, but still good color for a Repo. And I don't know how long it's aged.
They sent us no information. Like I say, I had this bottle. These are the two bottles I had delivered, and I told Bryce on camera, it's the first time I've ever not paid for this tequila. I paid for it when I lived here before. I would buy the 1.75 for, like I said, anywhere from 22 to 24 bucks. It was dirt cheap. But that was
old standard,
that was about 10 years ago. That pricing is not the same now. We're in the thick of a agave shortage, and they're stressing the agave from both ends. They're not, some distillers aren't letting some agave growers are not letting their agave grow to peak maturity, and others are harvesting anywhere from 2 to 4 year olds. So, somewhere in the middle. Nice legs though.
It's definitely clinging better than the Blanco.
Yeah. Well, and it's got to be from the wood. It's giving it a little bit more character, a little bit
more body.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow. It does pick up a little bit more of the barrel notes on it.
Yeah, I guess there's more depth than I thought there would be.
Yeah. Because from the color, it's either not being rested long, or they're using, obviously they're using used barrels, but they're not looking for ancient barrels like G4 would look for, beat up barrels that nobody wants.
Right. Yeah.
I could get sweet whiskey notes on this side, and they're definitely whiskey.
A little whiskey, a little bit of pepper, but also like there's a sweet floral note to it. Get a little sweetness on the floral side.
Some decent
earthy.
Not a lot, just enough.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, right there in the center of my Glencairn, I'm getting agave, just like we got in the Blanco. Wow, it's more complex than I thought it would be.
I agree. Yeah. It's really nice, really pleasant. Nothing is overpowering. Like you get some barrel, but think about, I find reposados to be the hardest ones to do because you either have too little time or it's a strong repo and it should just be an añejo at that point.
Well, and now that we're at one point during this pandemic, we had an añejo shortage, and then everybody thought that it was going to translate into a reposado shortage. And then now they're doing really creative things with reposados to emulate an añejo while they're still aging añejos. So it's, but this is nothing. This isn't, they're not trying to be clever. They're just, the one thing I will say is I'm not getting a lot of agave like we did with the Blanco. That's why I'm surprised that I'm getting that complexity of the barrel as much as I'm getting, because it doesn't look like it's been resting very long.
No. But the nose is different, so there's definitely barrel impact.
Well, yeah. Yeah, it is a faint agave smell from the Blanco, but it's faint because it really is more barrel forward.
Yeah, and the agave is definitely on that cooked in as opposed to the fresh vegetal agave.
Well, you want to see what it tastes like?
Yeah, definitely.
Let's go. Wow, that's nice.
Yeah. So it reminds me of the first sip of the Blanco in the sense that you get the agave sweetness up front, and then you get that explosion of, pepper, the crescendo you were talking about, how but this time that pepper had all the barrel notes in it.
Well, the pepper sometimes, in my experience, and maybe you'll agree with me or not, the spiciness of the pepper, once it's barreled like this, turns into like a cinnamon, not like a red hot, and not like a bourbon hot, but like a cinnamon hot,
Yeah.
And
no, I could get that. Yeah.
I think that, and I look for that. I really do look for, some kind of the consistency from the Blanco, but the added notes of the barrel. And what does the barrel do? Because it doesn't just affect the nose; it affects obviously the flavor profile.
Right.
So the black pepper or white pepper, depending on what you think you're getting, eventually will turn into that cinnamon spicy, not super spicy, but just like a cinnamon, not like a hot bourbon, or anything like that. Because this is really gentle. This is whiskey. I mean, it's really got the nice whiskey notes on it.
Yeah. Yeah. If I had to guess, I'd probably say like 6 to 8 month repo. I mean,
and maybe not so distressed on the barrel. Maybe once or twice used, not completely ancient.
Yeah.
It has some decent color to it.
Yeah. It definitely has barrel influence, but not so much that you don't know that you're still drinking tequila.
I'm really impressed with the complexity of this. This is really a decent sipper for the nose. And it, we were talking about the old school tequilas, that this really kind of was a throwback. That's really why there's some of it missing in the bottle, because when I had it delivered to me, I'd had it 10 years ago. I told this story when we tasted the Blanco, and it's the first time I've not paid for this tequila, because I used to pay for it all the time. And it's more complex than I remember it, and I like that. And to be fair, when I tasted it, I didn't taste it out of my Glencairn or any of the Jarritos. I just put it in a snifter. I just enjoyed it like I did when I was here 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And this is really a complex. It's got a nice character and body to it. Probably more so than I had given it credit for, back then.
Yeah, I mean, this is my first experience with it, but yeah, it's a good, and like we talked about that Blanco, there's just that classic, traditional, tequila. But this one definitely is delivering more than my expectations. That second sip, I got, a lot more of the kind of those the baking spices. You're talking about the cinnamon.
Yes.
like actual like ground cinnamon. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, they're using some decent barrels. It's got a great finish. The finish is
Yeah. And the
even
whiskey comes through a little bit, like whiskey and wood. Yeah, caramel. Yeah.
yeah. This is see, folks, this is what I'm telling you. This is don't ever overlook this bottle. All right. Just because it comes in a plain wrap bottle doesn't mean it ain't good. Because
Yeah.
when you do the research and you find out who's making it, this is the Partida family. This is David Partida's distillery. What did we say it was? $15.99?
1522.
1522. Okay.
Yeah.
Again, I don't have my readers on. 1522 has been around forever. Wonderful tequilas coming out of Amatitan. I love this flavor profile. And the funny thing with Amatitan, we were talking off camera or maybe on camera that I really enjoy the minerality that came from that valle, from that region. And it was so just in your face, just grabbed you by the shirt collar and let you know it was there. And I loved it. And I still to this day, I love it. But for some people, it might have, as the years progressed and these tequilas started coming onto the market, a lot of brands coming from Amatitan would do something different to the brand to round out the edges of the Blanco. And I think that's where they started doing this. This is how he's always made it. Yeah. I just never, I could never get a second delivery because for some reason, I don't know, I couldn't contact anybody at El Ultimo. And so we never got a chance to dissect it, but I always bought it because I knew it tasted good and it was old school. But I think that's what they were doing 10, 20 years ago, because there was some of these brands out of Amatitan, they'll aerate it. They shoot air through it to soften the edges because sometimes it's maybe the minerality is too aggressive for the American palate.
A little spiky.
Yeah, a little spiky.
Yeah.
I like that. I like your terminology because I know you a lot. It's spiky. I like that. Chris Maxwell used to use the word when he tasted some Blanco tequilas that were really, I called them chewy. It was almost like you wanted to chew them. He called them beefy. Big beefy.
Yeah.
Like the difference between a hamburger and a buffalo burger. And I'll even go depending on a mezcal. I'll say it's gamey. It's like game meat versus chicken. You know what I mean? And free range versus the generated poultry. This is Brand of Promise nominee, man. This is and again, don't overlook the bottle. It's not available in Texas as of 2 weeks prior to this recording. I couldn't find it in specs. I couldn't find it in Total Wine. I know Bryce is going to keep looking for it because
I'll be looking for it. Yeah.
Because again, I don't know what a price point is right now. It's probably not going to be $24 for a 1.75. That's not going to be it.
No.
I think that and even at that price, even at $30 to $40, it's worth it. The quality's there. It has not changed in at least 9 to 10 years. Same recipe.
Yeah, that last sip I took was a little larger, and same thing at the end. Just get that kind of that explosion of all the barrel notes and the spiciness. I mean, it's a good tequila, representing the valley.
Wow, and the complexity. I don't, this kind of complexity on the nose and the flavor. You pay for that pretty bottle, and you're paying $50-$60 for a Reposado with this kind of quality.
Yeah, this would be fun to put in a blind flight.
Yeah.
People,
I did show them the bottle, and they're gonna go, what?
Yeah, because I don't know if it's just my lack of education. I didn't know the brand. So if this was in a blind flight for me, I would appreciate it, but I wouldn't know where to place it.
Yeah,
I don't have the reference point for it. Yeah.
And that's why you work with us.
Yep.
Because I'm throwing you curveballs whenever I can.
Yeah.
I can't wait till you start developing a taste for mezcals. Because I've got a few with your name on them.
I got a couple hiding in there. Yeah.
That's okay. If you want to stay in your lane, you can. I'm all right with that. When you start experimenting with other agave spirits, you realize that there's more. There's more than news, weather, and sports. There's all kinds of stuff out there. But I'm really digging the nose on this. I haven't had a nose like this, and like I said, even 10 years ago, I'd never dissected this thing like we do now. I always enjoyed it. I just put it in a snifter and just enjoyed it. And I knew it was good, but I never really broke it down with anybody. And that always helps when you break stuff down with somebody else.
Right.
And they're tasting something different than you are. Wow. That's amazing. That is really something.
Yeah, it's really good.
I wish I knew what kind of price point they're asking for now, because it's worth every penny. Don't worry about the bottle. Don't worry about it. It's worth every penny.
Yeah, it's not a bad bottle. I like the packaging.
I do too.
It's simple, but it still looks good sitting up on the shelf.
I'll serve this up on Instagram later on tonight, but I took a picture of the old labeling. And it's the same label that you find if you search it for it on Total Wine or Specs online. They'll give you the old label, and this new packaging, this new branding, it's really kind of nice. And even on the cork, on the knob, it's a little bit more upscale, but I like that hammered look. I'm good with that. I miss it. Yeah, that right there.
Yeah, and I'll figure out the price and if it's available in Texas, and then when the video comes out, I can throw it down there in the comments.
Okay. Yeah. Oh wow. As it opens up too, the barrel starts to really take over. Wow, that's tasty.
Yeah.
Like I said, Brand of Promise nominee in the Reposado category. Folks, that's our take on El Ultimo Agave. But it's not our last one. It's just, that's the name of the brand. Okay. So El Ultimo Agave, the last agave. Don't make it your last one. Go get some. Because this is, once it's back in stock, I would back up your truck and get a lot of these, because it's cocktail friendly. But I think the Reposado is a great sipper, man. I don't know what you would do with it. The Blanco would certainly stand up to cocktails for sure.
Yeah, it was classic cooked agave and pepper, so I would think, just kind of that straightforward, margarita, like a simple margarita, just lime, a little bit of sweetness, and tequila.
A great
Reposado, I like it too much to do anything to it.
Yeah, me too.
I'm gonna sip it. Yeah,
that repo is a winner, man. That is amazing.
Yeah,
that's our take on El Ultimo Agave. You've been watching and listening to Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media, all of our channels and networks. If you're listening to us on Spotify, thank you very much. Download it if you're listening to us on iTunes and anywhere else. If you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, give us a like, because it helps with the algorithm, because that's what life is, right? The algorithm. You can follow Bryce on the Austin Tequila Connoisseurs. He does his own reviews. He's got a great palate and great notes, very reliable flavor notes, as a matter of fact. Follow us on Instagram. That's Tequila Aficionado. You can follow me personally at Timberelk, but why bother? But whatever you do, tomar sabiamente.
Sip wisely.